Thanks, everyone. Good morning.
We're little Canadian shy.
Many familiar faces and some new ones also. Good morning. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we are gathered on the unceded and traditional lands of the Swiftmatic Nation. We are deeply grateful to live, work, and learn in this beautiful region, and we recognize the enduring presence of indigenous people who have stewarded this land for generations. So today's session, AI for data and decisions. I'll share my experience when I was working at SAP, and it's almost everything about data, how you organize it, how you interpret it, and then how you implement your business processes around it. So today's session is going to be very important from that perspective and involving AI embedded use cases into your business processes. So it will be the starting block for that. And we have Rob with over 20 years of experience teaching people like us. So I hand it over to Rob.
We have a small group, obviously, so I'm happy to keep it very interactive. I have some samples I want to show you guys and so forth, but I've heard a lot of discussion beforehand about data and stuff. So if there's like actual use cases that we want to jump into, let's do it as well. Okay, we'll probably have time today to go through some of this stuff. So a little bit, oops, being recorded. Okay. Let's hope this works good. So what we're going to chat about today is exactly what Sasha said. It's about data and how we use these tools to decipher, organize data. The problem I typically see with clients is that they just don't have it organized. Most clients have a lot of data. They just got it all over the place. Right, that's the struggle. So step number one is we need to organize your data. That's number one, but it needs to kind of be tied to your workflow. Everyone's going to be a little bit different. So what I'm going to show is more of like, let's pretend we have clean data and we're going to use these tools to kind of analyze it and so forth. I'm going to probably use one main tool today just for time's sake, but there's a lot out there. If you're worried about, I'm going to get the question is about privacy of data. That's what everyone asks me all the time. So there are solutions to do that, like ChatGPT. You can turn off sharing, and there's all those things. You can also have solutions that work within your four walls as well, right? So there are platforms out there that are private platforms. I'm working with one right now called Nova Storms, and that's what they did. They built a solution that literally sits on your desktop and doesn't go anywhere. Right? You just pay a user fee of whatever, $80 a month per user, and off you go, right? So it analyzes, but what it doesn't do all the times, you don't have the benefit of accessing what the models are trained on in real life. So if you want to do that, then you talk to Peter, right? So there are solutions where you can build solutions that are in your four walls, but it takes a little bit more planning strategy. So as we're going through this, I want to kind of set the stage a little bit that I'm showing you more public tools today, but if you're looking, because a lot of us are worried about privacy, then there's other solutions out there as well. Okay, cool. So what we're going to try to do today, and like I said, it's a smaller group, so please be interactive. I like to keep these things pretty casual. So and then there's people online as well, so we'll try to get them involved if they can, if they have questions. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to talk about how AI can transform data, so helping make decisions. I'm going to show two different things. I want to have some mock data, real simple, then I'm going to load up and show. And then I'm also going to use these tools to do some digging. I love doing it because I live in the marketing and sales space, so I'll do it for competitor analysis, trends, and so forth. But I heard someone say, and I 100% agree, I can't remember if it was Jeremy who do that. Once you get the data from the tools, don't just take it as the Bible and move on with your life. You need to verify, and you need to have human in there. You have to. They're just not, in my mind, they're just not there yet, that I would trust them 100%, making sure that you get information. The other thing is we need to understand what metrics you want. Right? Because everyone's going to be different. I'll talk a little bit about the metrics that I look for and say, sales, marketing, customer service, that sort of thing. We'll talk about that because you need that baseline. These things are really good at building little visuals for you as well. That's one thing I use it for. So if I'm doing a presentation and I need to take some data and build a quick little visual, they're great for it. Right? Again, way better than Rob to do. And then I'm hoping that you find something today that you can apply. Right? So I see most people have brought their computers, so I'm going to give you time to actually play around with this stuff as well. And I'm here, Peter's here to kind of help walk around. I'm putting Peter to work. You didn't know that I was going to do that, but I am. So a couple things is I think a lot of us probably make decisions based on our gut when we're running businesses, and I think that's okay. I mean, that's where 20, 25 years of being in business comes. I think part of it is you just know your business and you know your value and you know what you do and you know what your clients do. So you have. So most of us will make decisions using our gut. Some of us use data, but I find that majority of the clients we work with just don't use the data properly. They just don't. And it's partly because of time. They're just like, I don't know what to do with it. Like, I don't have the time to do it. So, and then some people are already using AI, but they're maybe using it usually pretty sporadically right now for this sort of stuff, right? So I was thinking as I was building this, like, wow, like if I look at the last 5 business decisions I made, like were they based on data or instinct? And I would say a lot of it, like the stuff you do on the fly, are probably instinct, right? Because that's what we do every day. That's what we have to do. We're busy. Someone asks you a question, and you're like, do this. How many times do we actually get to sit down? Okay, I'm going to block off 2 hours and dig into my data and make decisions. I don't know. I can't put my hand up for that. That's where these tools can help. They can at least be a starting point for you to actually start putting this stuff together. But I feel like if we can combine your gut instinct with AI, then I think we're going to start seeing a much better results on how we can do this. Okay. So I think there is, like, for me, I feel like there's almost like a data problem because there's data everywhere, but there's no insights are nowhere. Like I think most businesses will collect, like I'm working right now with a couple of ski resorts, and you think about the amount of data they've collected over the years. Like think Sun Peaks, every time you swipe to go skiing, they're collecting something. Every time you go into the restaurant, they're collecting something. Every time you book a hotel, they're collecting the central reservation. Like they have so much information on their clients, but they're doing very little with it. Very little with it. Some forecasting, but very like because they have to report to Destination BC. That's pretty much what they do with it. They don't really do much with it, right? So we'll kind of show them how they can take that information and make some predictive analysis and give them some information to look at. Most of, like I said, few actually clean it. You have it, it's sitting there, spreadsheets. Sometimes they're not even spreadsheets. Sometimes it's pieces of paper that are in books. Like really, we still see that, like 100%. I still see that, right? So the cool thing is someone's like, I don't know, just take a picture of it and now it's uploaded digitally for you. Like you can do simple ways of doing that because sometimes we get stalled in oh, I'm not going to type this out. It's a make work project, okay? And then AI can handle, analysis in minutes. That's one thing that I like to use it for is it just give me a real insight. So today after this session, I need to drive, then I'm driving to Kelowna. I'm very productive. I talk to my AI tools in my car for the whole 2.5 hours and 2 hours to Kelowna, right? So I'm going to actually, and it's not, again, I don't take it as Bible, but it gives me an idea to just iterate with it. And sometimes like, hey, can you analyze this? And what do you think? And the one thing you have to do with this stuff though, is you do need to tell them, they'll blow sunshine up your butt and tell you're the greatest person in the world all the time. So you got to set the stage with it. You need to tell it to be, hey, I want you to be critical of this and give me feedback. Because if not, it tells you you're the greatest person in the world every time, right? So you want to make sure that you're critical with this information, okay? And I'm just gonna give you some theory, then we're gonna jump and actually play with these tools. So, so what does your data know about, or so what your data knows that you don't? So one of the things is that some of your competitors potentially are already using this, right? So I'm just going to use the ski industry because I'm in the middle of it right now with a couple clients. Is that there are some resorts back east that are really using these tools to actually they want to launch a system where pricing for ski passes will fluctuate based on inventory in real time. So I can log in right now and I'm going to pay $50 for a ski ball. You never pay $50 for a day pass. Yeah. $50 for a day pass. And then someone might log in 10 minutes later because the inventory is less, they might pay $75 in real time. So they're going to use this information. They're actually implementing it as we speak. It's big in in Europe. It hasn't come here yet. Right. So, but that's what they're using. They're forecasting trends. They're looking what's happening. They're understanding. They're integrating. It's supposed to snow next Thursday. It's not supposed to snow. It's like they're integrating all this stuff and they're letting these tools help them make decisions. Okay. That being said, if we worry about, well, what happens to the people, they haven't laid off anybody. It's just helping them do their job differently right now. Okay. So you can be early adopters. If you're early adopters in right now, and just being in this room, I'm telling you right now, you're early adopters. Because I did a talk 2 weeks ago in a room of 80, and I said, put up your hand if you're using AI. 6 people put up their hand. These are BC Optometrist Association. A room of 80, 6 of them put up their hand that they use AI. Almost like fell. Because usually I see 30, 40% of people put up their hand. 6. So you're early adopters still, like believe it or not, these tools are not being used as much as we think that they are. And then I think that if we wait, I feel like we start playing a little bit of defense because then we're like, that's why I'm like, I encourage you to start, and you can just start dabbling doing this stuff. You don't have to go all in, both feet, hands, toes. You can start dabbling on this sort of stuff, right? And I start thinking about like, what is one thing that you wish you knew about your business data? Like one thing. Is there one thing that you'd be like, oh man, it'd be really cool if I could just know this? Like, let's work towards that solution. Like, it doesn't have to be everything. You don't have to fix everything overnight, right? There might be one thing. You might want to predict sales forecasting. Might want to, like, I'm working with a client right now. It's in retail that I'm trying to use these tools to say, okay, you have 7 different types of magnesium on your shelf. Why? How much does it sell? Like, what's your cost of that inventory? Can a tool analyze through your sales report over the last 10 years you've been in business to tell us which ones we should carry, how many we should order, because Peter is the only one that comes in once a month to order it, right? Simple, because he won't do it. He just does what he does. He's busy. Well, these tools can give us that. Just gets a dashboard to do that, okay? So say just one thing. What's one thing that we can fix? We could help. I would say fix. We could help because it's not like it's broken. We just need. So what we're going to try to do today, and I'm going to click out of this and we'll play around and actually do some things. That's the best way to kind of see it. And if you guys have things you want us to do, let's play around with it. Okay. So one, I'm going to analyze some sales data. I just had ChatGPT do up some mock information for me. So we'll analyze some sales customer marketing data using AI. We're going to ask it to build a little bit of visuals. I'll let you guys go. You can go super deep into the visuals, like so Chat or a Notebook LM or Perplexity or Gemini will build you a static visual that's pretty good. If you want to go deeper, there's lots of tools out there. Like if you want to play with Lovable or Replit, they'll build you all the dashboards they want. Right? They will, like they really will. I don't know if anyone's played with those tools, but they blow my mind. Like you literally a prompt and here's your website. Like, ta-da. Now, it's not necessarily functional just yet, but anyways, you can start building these tools. I'm going to see if we start forecasting some opportunities. So looking at trends, can it give us some trends based on it? And then, hopefully gives you some confidence that you're making data-driven decisions. Again, I'm a believer of human in the loops, or all this stuff should have a human coming in at some time to make sure they're verifying this information. Okay. So I'm hoping that today you become a little bit more data curious if you're not already. Simple tools. I'm just going to show the simple ones today. You can dive deeper if you want to know more. Reach out to me. I'm happy to nerd out on this stuff and talk to you guys all about this. I'm totally fine. But like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Notebook LM, those are sort of like the common tools that are really good about summarizing spreadsheets for you. Research competitors, identifying trends. So even in marketing, like we'll do research or competitor analysis. Tools are great for that. They'll give you a surface level. They're not, but they'll analyze websites, they'll analyze blog posts, they'll analyze social, and they'll give you a lay of the land, right? So again, it's not perfect, but it's way better than not having nothing, right? So you'll actually build some pretty good, as long as you're giving it really relevant action items. So here's my KPI, here's what I need to accomplish. Because if not, it's just going to give you an answer, right? So a simple demo, we'll do this, but a simple demo is just analyze this data set and show me the top 3 product categories by growth rate over the last quarter. Like just simple thing. Like what might sound simple, but again, the client I'm working with in Edmonton has 3 health food stores. He doesn't really do that. He can load it up, ask that question, and ta-da, within a second, he has it in front of him. And then he can start making some decisions of saying, wow, like these categories are outselling these categories. And then, hey, why don't we layer it over seasons? What about quarters and seasons over the last 10 years? What about who's buying? Like you can start asking it and you can start working with this data set pretty quickly. Okay. Now I'm going to stop yakking. We're going to do some demos. So what I'm going to demo is I'm going to click out of this. I'm just going to use ChatGPT for today. Again, we can jump in and use other things. So I have a data set that I just created using ChatGPT. It's just a small CSV file. So the nice thing too is nowadays you can upload anything, CSV, Excel, whatever, it doesn't matter. It'll pretty much take anything now, which is really neat. I'm going to ask it to analyze it. I'm going to ask it to create a chart and just ask it to give me some insights. Real simple task. Okay, so we'll do this together. Let's hope it works. I have the tabs open, so let's hope so. Just got to give it a second to load, it looks like. Can you see okay, Julie, on the screen on Zoom? Okay, cool. It just looks like it's cut off here for some reason, but the line. You can see it. We're all happy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up. So I just have, like I said, I have if you guys use ChatGPT or whatever, you can connect it to Google Drive and it could pull stuff there as well. And I don't know, do you guys know that you can turn off sharing on here? Like just the little button up here, it actually will put it into like, it won't show up in history and so forth. So if you're worried about, even if you're just playing around with data yourself and just testing these tools, you can turn it off on chat, just a little button up here. And it's, how secure is it? Well, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, so, but it does say it's like we won't share. So let's just hope that what they say that they're doing. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just going to upload a data set. And I just have it on my desktop here. It's a sample. It's a real simple. I'll just show you guys real quick. It's just a simple little like sales. It's sales by month, product, category, units sold, revenue, and region. So it's very simple, but I wanted to have something in there. Okay. So I'm going to load this up in here. And now there's a little spinning wheel. It's already loaded because it's a small data set. And now I'm just going to ask it the question. So I'm going to start. And you guys get this PDF. I got a whole bunch of prompts in here later on. You guys can have this. So you don't have to worry about copying these prompts or anything. So I'm just going to ask it to analyze this data set, summarize its top performing products, and show a chart of monthly sales. Super easy. Push a button. And literally by the time you go make your next cup of coffee, it's going to have, we'll kind of let it do its thing here. So it's going to analyze this data set. Now I can give it a lot more context around the prompt. This is a real simple prompt that I gave it, but I just wanted to show you the ability of how quickly. So it's like, here's what the analysis shows: top performing products, monthly sales trend, show chart, revenue. So it's real quick. It's a very simple, like I said, it's a very simple, but within a click of a button, I have, like before 10 years ago, I'm put it in an Excel spreadsheet and my formula doesn't work and the graph doesn't look right. And so now these tools analyze it really quick and then I don't know if you guys noticed, but ChatGPT always asks you questions now. It's like, would you like to break this down further by region or category? Like, so they're prompting you now. And I'm like, yes. So if I just say yes, it's actually now going to do the next step, which is going to analyze that. I'm going to let it do its thing. But what I wanted to do is now I'm going to go back and ask it, because this is what I love about this stuff. So what I'm asking is, tell me, what do you notice? So I'm just going to let it do its thing here. As you can see now that it did by region. So Kamloops, Verdun, region Kelowna. Way to go, Kamloops. Also, I don't know what this image isn't showing up, but that's sometimes the way that ChatGPT works. And then it shows me sort of top regions, Kamloops leads, all that sort of stuff. So it's asking me a question, but I'm not. What I'm going to ask now, this is what I love. This is one area that I actually coach clients a lot is, now tell me some trends. You're seeing this data. Great. So we have this thing. But now I'm asking it to actually tell me what you see. Give me some information. Like, so if you start using these tools for your own business, like a chat, it's going to know you. Right? It's going to understand your business. Hopefully you've trained it or you're training it. So when you ask this, you don't have to give it as much context because it knows who you are. If this is the first time you've ever used this tool, give it a little bit more knowledge. Load up your website, analyze who you are, like your customers, like, because then it gives a baseline. I don't have to because I've used it enough that it already knows who I am. But so I'm going to ask, what might this data tell us about the demand or customer trends? So now I'm going to ask it to think and say, you have all this information. So now I want you to actually come back with recommendations on what you're seeing. Okay. Well, see, look, it says, Rob, excellent question. See, you're always the greatest for these. So coffee rules the cart. Coffee beans are their clear revenue driver, pulling more than double sales of mugs. And it's even hints. This hints at strong recurring demand. Customers likely view coffee as a need, not a want. So build loyalty around. It's even telling, hey, maybe you should look at doing subscriptions or bundles or coffee of the month. Then mugs. So you see now it's actually analyzing. It's saying, well, Kamloops is leading. Maybe you should do something hyper local in the Vernon market to reignite Kelowna with targeted campaigns, or like, in a click of a button, look what it's given us. Like, imagine us trying to analyze that ourselves, or you're busy, because we're all busy. We're just talking actually about that. We're all busy. At the end of the day, you're like, oh, the last thing I want to do is analyze data sets. These tools can do it for us, right? And the cool thing is we're not talking about automation today, is you can automate this, right? You could build an automation Peter. You can build an automation, right? Though, right? You can build that does it for you, that analyzes this data set for you in real time, or once a day or once a week, and just sends you the results. So once you set it up once, right? That's I just had a call today about this. That the guy was saying that he thinks it's way too easy to create stuff right now with AI. That's what he's worried. It's too easy. I can go and develop a dashboard or a website. You guys can all go develop with Sora. A guy I know created 80 videos using Sora 2 for his business over the weekend. Like, that's a lot of content. He was not able to create this. There's lots, it's easy to create. What's lacking is the strategy part, right? What are you going to do? What do you want it to do? What do you want the data? What do you want out of your data? And then build the tools, find the tools afterwards. Yes.
So you mentioned like one of the key things that you were going to get into is like having clean data.
Yeah.
What are some of the quick pitfalls you've seen that are most prominent in that? Like I've seen things, example, like the CSV you showed.
Yeah.
That the example, you have to be really detailed with your headers. So the AI understands exactly, has a really good understanding of what each set of data is,
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah, I think so. That's one of the big ones, because you're going to have, if you're pulling different data sources, and each of them have different columns and different information in 3 or 4 different areas, the system gets confused. That's one thing. One of the things probably last in summer we did sessions is that we talked about not overloading these programs, because if you overload them, they struggle. But no different than a human. If I asked Amy like 27 questions at once and go, can you tell me the answer? You'd be like, I can't remember what you asked me. Like, so same sort of thing, right? So you want to be able to keep, when I say clean data, yeah, like try to formalize so they're structured what you're uploading. That's number one. The other part, I think what I find is people just don't have, like, it's all over the place. It's on paper. It's maybe they don't have a CRM system. It's sitting over here, and then they transfer it to a new system, and it's sitting somewhere else, or it's in someone's head. Like that's usually typically, so the first process when I'm working with a client is we're going to clean your data. We need to find where your data is. Let's clean it. Let's have a form. Even an Excel spreadsheet. It can be simple as uploading, download into it. I can actually probably put it into ChatGPT and ask it to clean it for me. Right? So I can upload 5 or 6 different formats and say, can you clean this into, here's what I need to do. Can you clean the data for me into one? It'll probably do it for us. I wish I would have it. We should try it. Would? Yeah. So like that's an easy way to do it. But just clients just don't do it. You're just busy and you don't think about doing that sort of stuff. So to me, start there. You have to start with, I always joke to say AI, if you have a bad process and you add AI, now you're just a bad process with AI. You haven't fixed anything, you just fail faster, right? So I don't know, like you need to fix this first. You need to have a proper process or strategy, and then you can implement these tools. But you can see how quickly though that you can it's simple. We'll dig a little bit deeper, but that's a really simple task. But how quickly it gave us charts, recommendations, thought. Now I would dig in, right? So I'm like, oh, this is a really neat idea. Let's iterate. Let's talk about this. How would I do it? What would it cost? How would it affect my sales? What if I raise my coffee prices by 50 cents? What would it do to my sales this next? Like, you can start having those discussions. It's like your CTO, your CFO, you're all sitting right there in front of you. So Jeremy, you're going to ask a question.
So kind of, it's just tweaks something in the back of my brain, and sometimes if I don't ask it, my brain is gone.
All good.
So I'm gonna ask.
Yeah.
So right now,
Yeah.
I send out teams every day. We have a clean team.
Yeah.
So we pick up needles, garbage,
Yeah.
cardboard, all that kind of crap.
Mhm.
They log into my website, which is a form handler.
Okay.
They enter the data in a simple spreadsheet. How many of these, how many of those? You push submit, it goes into the database on the website. What I'd like to do is take that and automate an accumulation table similar to your website.
It's built. What's the website built in? Sorry. So you should be able, I think, and here I want to use more of the tech. You should be able to API, like build an automation with API that would pull the information daily, wherever you want to create that table.
And it would accumulate.
I believe. I want to say yes, but he's the tech guy, so he's nodding his head. So
It's probably, I just think because a lot of what we do data wise, like we have a variety of different survey types. And so some we have Likert scale, some we have number scale. So,
yeah.
But the ability to build that data year over year over year and then compile that data and then re-report it back out is where we're struggling, right? Because I'm taking it, like we just completed our social and crime survey. I'm taking all that data.
Yeah,
I'm collating it through the form handler,
yeah.
and then I'm manually creating graphics for it all, right, and producing a report. So it's just like, I'm seeing the value in all these different types of data that we have, and
You
how do we
100%
coalesce that
could do
data into a defined reset or redefinition.
We even take it to a next, so we're working with Rutland Waterworks right now, so and what we're seeing every morning, they gotta go to all the wells, they gotta record a reading, all this sort of stuff, they put it on a piece of paper, and then they gotta go transcribe it into a data set, and then they so what we're doing now is like, no, you walk into the well, you're grabbing your phone, you're gonna hit voice, you're gonna record it in audio, and it's gonna automatically do the rest of it for you, just move on with your day. That's simple, and it's just, I mean, you can use Otter, like, it's really that simple, where the power comes in the automation's the API, now we're gonna tie that to something, that's where the strategy comes in. Because even with Rutland Water, what do you wanna do with the data at the end? What, like, they have to report to your health. Okay, that's the end goal, okay, now we're gonna build the staircase from you going into a pump to your health, let's build the staircase for you on all the different areas where we gotta analyze data. Right, so typically what I'll do is I'll walk through something like this with a client, really simple, so they start, because you're starting to think now.
Yeah.
That's why I do it, I simplify it, okay, let's simplify it, and you're like, well, what about this, what about this? Now we're documenting what you actually want by playing around with it, now we're gonna reverse engineer, okay, let's build a proper automation and solution for you. So you're not just like, well, now I'm recording it, Rob, and now I just have another place of data setting, and I'm not doing anything with it, so thank you for giving me more work. Right, so that's what we kind of reverse engineer. But you see, this is simplicity of this starts thinking about, well, what if I could do this? Well, what if I could do this? So you could have your team walking around just recording what they see. But I mean, I think there's a physical part that you need to do. But that would actually take everything you're doing and you tell us the end goal, you could build that on. And I think it's pretty, I want to say simple, but it's a fairly simple ask what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like I think, right? Like we're not reinventing the wheel here. It's a fairly simple ask for what you're asking for. So, yeah. Any other questions? That's good. That's good stuff. Any other questions, comments, thoughts on this? We'll dig a little bit deeper. But
I mean, on the non-technical or
Yeah.
if not developer, you can use API for that, depending on where you get into that, right? So if it's a form that's going into a spreadsheet, you can still use API. Might need a little bit of tweaking.
Yeah.
In order to get it to work, but that's one possibility. But if you have the data from different sources, almost sounds like you would need some custom build. But with the custom builds, it's a lot faster with AI now too. Yeah.
So we're working on, since you say that, because we're working on a
Right.
national data project for BIs across the country.
Oh, interesting.
So they're geofencing to each of the BIs across the country. So they're pulling up real estate assessment fees, infrastructure.
Is it all aggregated?
All aggregated together, but this is a more localized.
Yeah,
data.
yeah,
The problem
yeah,
is
yeah.
that I take this data to CUI.
Yeah.
It's a $20,000 bill.
Right.
Because it's a custom bill.
Yeah.
I'm like, but this is not that complicated.
No,
So
not
that's,
at all.
and that's my challenge is,
Yeah.
this big project we're working on with CUIs,
Yeah.
$1.5 billion or $1.5
Yeah.
million for the province.
Yeah.
But we're like, this is different. It's
So
more
you
localized.
could, like, and I think that's what you're saying, like, there are tools like make.com and Zapier that you can use APIs and create automations, and it would give you sort of, you know, it wouldn't be maybe the best I recommend, but it's a solution. Or you could do like yours, I mean, I don't know, not that you but you can go and develop this stuff in Lovable or Replit, and you could create, because those actually will do API connection as well, those sort of things. I want a little dashboard and off you go, right? So I think you can, the power of where it is putting in the AI, that's where, you know, difference, I always talk about automation AI. You can automate something without having any AI involved in it. AI is when you start asking these questions. Hey, can you recommend, can you analyze? That's where AI comes into the process, because now it's taking that and giving you something out of it. You're transforming the data. That's the AI part. The automation part, you don't need any AI at all to do that part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, so example, like your database, that you're cataloging all this information into, you could technically hook that database directly into ChatGPT. And then you could start actually asking it like, oh, how many needles are picked up this week? Right. And now you have this thing where you can actually start querying that information. So that's another angle, especially if you're like building reports for the government, like quarterly or something like that. Yeah.
This isn't a ChatGPT session, but what I do is I build projects and then I connect like we just said. So I connect client stuff. Now, obviously stuff that I can connect. I just connect it into folders, and then I can go and ask questions to it. So almost use it like I don't even have to call. If you're my client, sometimes I don't have to call you, Jeremy, because I can just go ask here to get my answer, and I only call you if I'm like, oh, I don't have it, I better, or I need to verify, is this right? So that's a great comment. You could do that. Again, what this comes is you got to be careful on the privacy side. So the only thing that I always say with chat is this, even when it says it's not sharing, I don't know, I'm 50-50, but yeah, so if you're the same way I am, I'm like, I don't know. They're big businesses. That's what they're in the game of data. Google, they all want your data, right? So I'm trying to find solutions. There are solutions right now, either custom build ones or there's some that are very private, like they're just on. Like we're working with a dentist right now in Kelowna that it's like he has it's a computer about that size, and that's his large language model pretty much, right? It's built into it. So it's a little bit, again, it's cost a few bucks to do it for him, but he has to, because you imagine the patient information going to the world, he'd lose his license, right? So you have to be very careful on that. So. Any other questions? Great discussion. Any other comments, questions? If anyone online, I don't know, they can maybe put in chat. Okay. If anyone's listening online, or if you're listening online, you can stick your questions in chat, and maybe Julie, you can keep an eye out if there's anything. So you can see how, again, back to this very simple ask, but I like taking this process. I typically start at the simple ask and showing how we simply can do things, because it starts generating the ideas, the comments, the thoughts on, okay, how do I use my data? How can I use this in order to implement it properly? Now, I'm just showing chat. There are other ones. You can use Perplexity. You can use Notebook LM. They kind of do the same thing, though, to be honest, whatever you're comfortable with. The nice thing with Perplexity gives a lot more reference. So reference where it's getting information from a lot better than chat does. So it'll give you the link. It's saying, I got it from here. So you can check it, because I find ChatGPT sometimes gives you a link and it's a broken link. And I'm like, where'd you get it from? So if that's one of your concerns, Perplexity is a much better tool for that. Or if Notebook is great, like in the academic field, Notebook LM is used a lot. My daughter uses it, like because you can do other is everyone in the room familiar with Notebook LM? No? Yes, you have? Yes. So Notebook LM, what it does, it'll do the same sort of thing that we talked about, but the cool thing is it can create a podcast for you. It can create visual documents. It can create it's a Google product. I think there's one in here. I'm just going to see if this one actually, So this is so I uploaded a source here, and it actually just created, you can see I can create like mind maps down here with it. I can create so it just gives you a little bit of a different tool to use, and it actually generates audio overview or video of the data that you put into it. So if you're so a use case could be, actually my kid, did this work already? Did I do the mind map? Sorry, I thought I did it already, but maybe not. Give me 1 sec. Let me click it again. So my son actually did a report on autism in his grade 12 class, and he loaded his paper into Notebook LM, and it created a podcast that teaches you what is in his paper, and he handed it into as a supplementary, handed it into his teacher. He's blown away. He's like, this is a kind of fun thing. It'll teach you back the information in a podcast, but it'll create it's supposed to create mind maps. I don't know why am I not doing it. Here it is. Sorry. So you can create stuff like this just by uploading data. Really cool tool. Notebook LM is actually a really cool tool for this stuff. It's really good if you have lots of information and you need to dissect it into digestible elements, but all different ways. You can be audio, visual, mind mapping, content. It does it all using Notebook LM. Yeah.
So I guess one of the key things with Notebook LM is it lets you upload PDFs.
Correct.
And stuff like that.
Links too.
Links too.
Yeah. So you can put in a website, you can put in PDFs, you literally will take, and I think you can put up to 80 or there's a whole bunch. It gives you a whole bunch of ability to do a whole bunch of, we can actually I think there's one. Let me just go back. Let's pretend we're going to start one. I'm trying to remember. You can put a whole bunch anyways. So you can upload here. So you can upload stuff from Google Drive, websites, YouTube. You can put PDFs. You can pretty much, it says PDF, text, markdown, audio. You can upload everything into it. So that's your source. Then once you upload it, there's all these things you can do. It'll give you a breakdown. You can do audio overview, video overview, mind maps, reports, flashcards, quizzes. You can do all this stuff with the data once it's in here.
Rob, can you compare ChatGPT and NotebookLM? Which is better than?
I mean, I'm a ChatGPT user because I feel it's the Swiss Army knife. It does a little bit of everything, right? Where Notebook LM, I wouldn't go to Notebook LM and like ask it a question, for lack of a better word, where I'll go to ChatGPT and I'll iterate with it a lot more. To me, Notebook or ChatGPT is my search engine too. Like I actually do search. That's what where Notebook LM is not necessarily. It's more for analyzing data. It's more like a narrow focus. I would say it's more for a narrow focus stuff. Like so, Peter, we're going to say something. So.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
I think just to reiterate what Rob just said, if you have like a lot of documents, if you have 100 pages of PDF, for example, like in your case, right?
Yeah,
where
this
you
would be a good
analyze
one.
it from different sources. Just to highlight that, we'll use NotebookLM for that. It's very strong at that.
So again,
Right, yeah.
completely outside my professional life, I used to run a leadership training firm. And I wrote 58 components. And they're all individual files. And I'm trying to now look at how I can use that data to create passive income moving forward. And I'm looking at this and going, holy shit.
Oh, sure.
Like,
Sorry,
so
thank you.
theoretically, I could upload the entire
Absolutely.
curriculum.
Yeah.
Build a whole set of documents, knowledge, skills, and training out of this one platform.
I just did,
Is that what I'm hearing?
I just did that.
It's like a game changer. I'm like gobsmacked.
I just did that with my training material, for a client. So I make a lot of money doing training and development, and I see my job on the line for that.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, well now can I instead sell a training program based on this to each of my clients that comes with my consultant. So that's my new model. So that's what I've done. So whenever I write a policy, it comes with a training module.
Yeah, so I just uploaded a file because I can show. So this is a client I work with. Like so I uploaded their pitch deck. So it creates this note, pretty much it analyzed the file, just one PDF I put, but you can put whatever you want. You can put multiple sources into this. And now once it's in there, now I can ask it to do things. So I can say, create an audio overview. I'll do this because it'll take a few seconds, but it's pretty cool. I can say, create a mind map, create a report for it. And it'll start like, it just starts doing like all this stuff for you, right? So it could do like blog posts. It can do like, it's all these things that it can start doing in a click of a button for you. And I'll let it do its thing. So you did a mind map right away for it. Now I can start asking it questions based on the data that I put in here. I can upload more data. I can say, well, can you analyze the website? Here's another document. It's a cool, for analyzing data, it's Notebook LM is good. I usually teach ChatGPT because it's the one that's easiest for people to wrap their heads around. It's the easiest one. Most people have used it before, but it's a really good one for lots sources of data. I actually love the audio version of it. You'll see it's going to come up here in a second. It actually creates a podcast with two voices that talks about the data that I actually uploaded. So it'll actually be a 20-minute, 50-minute podcast that will actually, and I have a whole playlist on Spotify of these podcasts that I've created using NotebookLM of documents. So, because I like looking at reports, so like trends in AI or whatever. So I put it into here, create a podcast, and I upload it into a Spotify playlist, which is really cool as well. Now I use it more for like testing purposes. I play around with these tools. It's not an application, but yeah.
Have you used ChatGPT projects yet?
Yeah.
Kind of like the
Similar.
less outputs.
Correct. Yeah.
So am I using projects right? So I keep a client in each project.
Yeah.
So each project is a client in ChatGPT.
Correct. That's what I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it. And then now each of those projects are learning about those particular companies.
Yeah.
With trying to keep all their.
Information all into one area.
Yeah. So you know how we used to use contact managers and stuff like that? Now it tells me everything that I do with that client, and it knows the culture of each of those clients. So then I get my clients to sign off that I use it because I'm worried about.
Privacy. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So
Julie?
I didn't do that. I'm just starting to do that because I started to get freaked
Fair enough.
out.
That makes sense.
Well, because I don't know.
Yeah.
When am I gonna get in trouble?
So,
That's normal. I'm just.
Yeah, that's right.
So online, they're just asking, for the link, so is this just like notebook
if you actually, it's notebooklm.google.com. Notebooklm.google.com. If you're in the Google, if anyone uses the Google environment already, it's already built into it. Like you get,
Down at the bottom of the.
Yeah.
When you click the box with all the dots where all the applications are.
it's in there, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're like, because we're a Google house and so we get like all of it comes with it, Gemini, all that stuff comes with it. But if not, you can use it. I believe it's a free tool. It's a free use tool.
It's included in Workspace.
In Workspace, yeah.
But Google Looker isn't. So are you telling me
Mm.
that something, I haven't used LM for this, that LM could create the dashboard that Google Looker create? Because Google Looker is kind of like a BI.
I don't think so. I think Google, what you're saying, like Google Looker would give a different type of dashboard, more in-depth dashboard, I believe, than Notebook LM would.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
Because I do that for my engagement surveys.
Right. So I mean, what you can really do with these tools is like, and pick, like I said, there's literally thousands of tools, is that think about how you're using your data, where you're collecting it from and how you're using it, and see if you can implement automation and AI into this space, right? Where you're actually collecting in one place and it's automatically pulling this data into wherever. You can pull into Notebook LM, you can pull into ChatGPT, and then give you an output without you having to do anything, just doing what you've always done.
So you
Right.
tell it, but I don't know.
Yeah,
You
it sounds
tell
like-
it to automate, so every month I want you to pull.
Yeah, so you build, and I think our last session was sort of built around, we're not sure what we do last, but our last session was around sort of automations and taking this stuff and actually building automations for you. But yeah, and we record them all. I heard you say you're not here for the last one. We do record them. So the idea is that, yeah, you can use tools like, so you can use a tool like make.com and Zapier or N8N where you're actually building automations. So what you're doing is all this data sources we're talking about, you can bring it. So you can grab it from Excel, bring it into ChatGPT, create something, bubble here, and these tools allow you to do that automatically. That's what these tools are built. Make.com, but they're built specifically to build those type of automations. They're kind of do-it-yourself tools. Or you can do custom builds, right? So there's a whole bunch of tools you can use, and that's where you work. Like, Peter's company will build you custom tools, custom solutions for that, because sometimes those tools are great. Sometimes they don't do everything. Sometimes it's hard. Where do I get APIs from? I don't know. Like I make it sound easy, but it's a little bit difficult than me just saying, you just connect and push buttons. It's more to it, but you can do it. That's what they're built for. Okay. I'm gonna let this do its thing, kind of go back, because I just want to make sure we get through a few more things. So you see this, I just did the simplicity of creating sort of that data set. Can you still see everything online okay, Julie? Oh, that's weird that box is showing like that, but whatever. We're all good. Maybe I just need to move this down, but whatever. If they can see it, I won't mess around with it. So, and then when I say dashboards, that's like, to me, it's like the visualization of the data that you have, right? That's how you start it. And you kind of need, there's a little bit of a worksheet I have in here for you guys to actually walk you through the questions you might want to ask on when you're building sort of this dashboard. So you guys can take this with you. Julie will send out the PDF on of everything I'm showing. But I can just take something like, take the data set, visualize the total revenue per month, highlight which regions perform best, suggest one action. Like you can kind of, these are just sample prompts that I kind of created. So you can actually go and start building your own sort of what this dashboard should look like. And I say the best way to do it is start playing around with it. Start asking it questions like, well, no, I don't need this. Oh, actually, it would be really cool if I had this. Just ask it until you're like, yeah, it's kind of what I want. And then start refining that, to me, it's your simple way of building strategy around output and where we want to do. Okay, so you'll see that I just quickly created what I asked for, right? So I know it's not perfect to see on here. I can make it a little bit bigger, but it's now telling me. If I go back to the bottom, so it gave me my ask, which is visualize total revenue per month, highlight which regions performed, and then suggest one action. So it's giving me run localized coffee experience pop-ups, blah, blah, blah. So it's giving me sort of, now I have a little coffee thing going on, but you'll see how quickly it's taking that information. So back to Jeremy said, like you're doing it manually, this stuff can create it for you now. Like, right? And I can even go in and say, make instead of blue, use red, and it will actually change the graph to different colors for you. Now, it's not always perfect, these tools, but it will do that as well, right? To do it. Yeah.
Have you seen any like AI tools for building like live dashboards? So let's say you have like a Google Sheet, and then every time you log onto the dashboard, it updates off what the data is in the Google Sheet.
Yeah, so you could, like, that's what, like, make.com and those things will do some of that stuff because you set the parameters on, you need to give it a trigger to say when something happens, as soon as something gets added to the spreadsheet, it'll update, or that you have to go to something like a Lovable or Replit will actually create dashboards for you. And then you can tie APIs, real-time APIs into it as well. Now it's more, if you have a tech background, those are a lot easier. For me, I can create the front end of it. And then now I'm like, what do I do? Like, because I'm not a tech guy. So then, that's not but you can create front end dashboards. Like literally on Lovable, we could create a dashboard in probably 15 minutes, like with prompts, but then you got to connect it to something because the dashboard's only good if I'm pulling information to it. Right. So, but that's what so you can use tools like they will do that, or you would create something like use a Lovable or a Replit to do those dashboards. Okay.
And I think Rob,
Yeah.
a few sessions ago too, Rob mentioned Manus.
Oh yeah.
That would be,
It's manus.com. Man, that's another one. Thanks for bringing that up, Peter. Yeah.
so that would create,
So it's MAMUS.
Yes.
M-A-N.
Yeah. US.
You create a front end for you, but when the data comes from, it's still like figure it out. So,
Man is hands-on.
Yeah. I was going to bring it up, but so a couple other things, and then I want to do some more demos for you guys because it's great discussion you guys are having around this. So some of the things I always encourage is what do we want to, like, what KPIs do we want, right? So, from a sales perspective, is it, track performance by product or region, identify our strongest revenue drivers. Like, do we want conversion rates for clients? Do we want customer retention? Like, you need to understand, and now I'm coming at it from a more of a marketing and sales lens here for sure. So Jeremy, yours is going to be probably different. Everyone in the room will be different. But you need to really understand what your KPI is, right? Because that's the only way we're going to be able to get the data results that you want from your data. Right. And I always just say start. Again, you'll see my stuff. I try to very simple. Just write down one metric that you currently track and one metric you wish you could track. Like, just simple. Let's start with one and then we can build on it, right? Because I think sometimes there's overwhelm in this, right? Because I'm like, I'm going to go build a dashboard and I'm going to track all this stuff. And then you're like 4 hours into it and go, oh my gosh, this is a waste of time. I can't do it. And you get frustrated and you move on. And I'm like, just pick one. Let's tackle one problem. Let's find a solution. Let's make sure it works, and then we can add and add and add. Okay, that's typically what I recommend. But you need to know your KPI. You really need to spend some time understanding what you want out of these. Okay, it's really important. So what I'm going to show, though, we have time. Good. Is a different use for these tools. Okay, so say that you don't necessarily have a bunch of data sitting there of your competitors, of who you are, whatever, of your, the industry. These tools are really good for this, right? So I can go in. And I've built these prompts for our company, Check Creative, but you can use this easy to find and replace instead of saying Check Creative, just put your company in there. And again, Julie's giving you all these PDFs. So I'm going to ask it to start with, I'm going to ask it to look at competitors, position us compared to competitors, and audit one of our competitor websites. That's what I'm going to start with, right? So I don't have anything. Say I'm starting a new company and I actually don't have any of this information. These tools are really good for it. So I can pop this in. You literally can copy and paste these in here. I'm going to start a new chat so it doesn't get confused. So I'm going to ask it to, as a marketing strategist, analyze the top 3 competitors, Check Creative based on publicly available web data, identify their core services, unique selling points, target audiences, present in a table comparing them to Check Creative. Okay, so this is very simple. So if I had to do this, I'd have to ask someone to go out and do it. They're probably going to spend a couple hours. They're going to go on the website. They're going to analyze this stuff. You're going to maybe have to buy a tool to actually analyze what's happening. ChatGPT, just simple. Or you can go into wherever. You can go into Perplexity, whatever one you want. So it's actually, I'm seeing what the 3 that it's picking out, which would be, I actually agree, the 3 they picked out, it did a good job picking the competitors. If it doesn't, if you already know, you can ask it to say, make sure you include this competitor. So within, what did that take? A couple minutes? It built this form for me, analyzing Check Creative, Twirling Umbrellas, Twin Creek, and Highlight. right? So it gives us this nice little chart that says, and you can use this for anything. You can say, I'm selling widgets, compare. You can, I'm in the business of renting or selling HVAC, whatever. You can use this for, yeah.
You could use deep research mode for this too.
Yeah. So what I've noticed though with the new ChatGPT 5, I don't know if you noticed that if it's a tough question, it actually thinks longer automatically. So I didn't have to even put it in deep research. If I put in deep research, I'm actually forcing it to do it. But typically, if it's a think, I see that it actually thinks a little bit longer on its own right now. But it's a good point. Do you guys know that? Like they do have a deep research sort of tool where it actually thinks longer.
It'll run for like half an hour.
It will run, literally for half hour, right? For demo purposes, I couldn't do that. I'd do one prompt.
Running some model with big data set, it takes some time.
Correct. Yeah. So if I loaded a big one, I probably would have taken definitely a few minutes. That's why I did that simple one. But this is pretty cool in how quickly it just came up with that, right? So it's give me everything from my competitors, a little bit of what it means from a positioning perspective, right? And now it's asking me if I want to do something with it. But now I'm going to ask it. It says based on that, I'm going to position. I want you to position. Oh, come on, Rob. I want you to position us, okay, just in the market. So I'm going to do this. So this is if you don't have. So this is a different use case. This is to me where you don't have a data set. We're not using it for data. We're using it to analyze data that's public, right? So here's an analysis. It actually says, "Cool question." To answer this well, I'm going to lean on what Czech presents publicly. Here we go. So from a toned visual perspective, this is how we're different. Bang, right? Competitive advantages, all this sort of stuff that's in here. Potential gaps in your market. Like this is pretty powerful. Now, again, you want to jump in here and look at this stuff, but like it would take me weeks before to do this sort of thing, right? And you'd have to find, most people wouldn't even know to start. As a small business owner, you wouldn't even know where to start doing this sort of stuff, right? So you're analyzing all this. Then, and I've built these in sequence for you. So if you want it, you can do these yourself. And then I'm going to say, visit our website, summarize, I'm going to say, visit the website of one of the competitors, summarize the messaging, tone, hierarchy, and call to action. What is this agency emphasizing picture? So I'm going to say, take one of my competitors and tell me a little bit more about them. Like super powerful, right? This is like, look how like quick, like real quick. It gives us, I can ask it like a whole bunch of different questions, and it does reference here where it's pulling from as well. Now, this is only, I call it desk research, right? It's pulling from what it can get from the internet. That's what it's doing. It's not like it's picking up the phone. There are AI agents that could probably call right now, but you see that in a real quick, now I can start iterating with it. I can start asking it questions and so forth. Really simple. But another use case for these tools that if you don't have a data set, this is a different way you can analyze public data and get it back to you as well, okay? I did build, there's more here as well. So I built in sort of like trends, right? So I can say, okay, based on all this information, oh, I keep hitting the wrong thing, I apologize. Right, so now I'm going to start asking it to say, okay, well, summarize the top 5 emerging trends and basically in my industry, include samples of tools, technologies, and campaigns and trends. So now you can start asking it even for this sort of stuff, right? This is a good use case to say, hey, now I'm going to make some decisions, and I could, you said I could ask it to go into deep research mode. I just for this, obviously for sake of time, because we're about 20 minutes, but look how generative AI, creative, and co-creative AI tools, what's happening in the space, examples, implementations to small businesses, generative engines. This is a big one, right? The whole SEO is dying in my mind, right? So now it's telling us what's happening in the industry, hyper personalized, like that's pretty powerful. Like it would take me a long time to figure that out, to get all that information, right? So you can start seeing how you're using these tools. You can start using it, and then you can also even forecast, right? So you can say, predict how marketing agencies, oops, I went too fast up there, sorry. How marketing agencies like Czech Creative will evolve in the next 12 to 24 months. It's going to probably tell me we're not going to exist, but we'll see what it says, right? But it really is, right? Like our industry is changing, 100% has changed. So you can start asking those, and I don't know if you guys ever seen, you guys get this, yeah. So this is how these models train. So it's going to give me 2 responses. It's going to tell me it's going to ask me which one I like more than the other one, because that's how it's training on how I like the data information. So. Right now, I don't like either of them, so I don't know what it did to me because it actually gave me 0. but it's kind of learning. So you can kind of start seeing how, and then I have all different other prompts in here. You can localize it. So I'm saying analyze digital marketing adoption rates among businesses in Thompson, Okanagan, right? So now I'm saying don't go pull across the whole world. Don't go even pull Canada. Try to narrow it down for yourself as well, right? So you can start putting that kind of information in there as well. I'm gonna actually see if that, oh yeah, so that, remember I uploaded a pitch deck for this company called Value. And remember I did the mind map. So it actually created a podcast. So I'm gonna hit play just so you guys hear that. It's pretty cool. Hopefully it works.
So today we're cracking open something pretty interesting. It's a pitch deck for a new wellness tech startup. They're called Value. And their whole focus is breath work, but they're really positioning it as a direct response to, well, the weaknesses in a lot of current meditation apps.
Yeah, it's a really good chance for us to look beyond just, one product idea. We can really dig into the weaknesses that the whole digital wellness market seems to be showing right now.
Like pretty crazy, right? Like those are AI voices. The other thing you can start doing, oh no, stop this, sorry. You can actually go in there and start to do its thing. Yeah, I can ask it questions. So I can go in and actually ask the actual host a question now and say, hey, based on, I'm trying to get into that screen, so just for some reason I can't see it here. But you can start asking it questions and it will actually start answering you as well. So pretty crazy, right? So another way to kind of take your information, put it into digestible little segments for you to kind of work with, okay? Just looking at time, sorry. And then the last thing you can start doing as well is you can start looking at, and this, again, I'm using more from a marketing perspective, but I love this sort of stuff as well. I can ask it to go online and search reviews, mentions, testimonials about our company across Google, Facebook, LinkedIn. Sometimes it can't get into Facebook and LinkedIn because it needs to sign in. It's only things that are public, and identify overall sentiment and all that sort of stuff as well, right? So if you want to know what people think about you, this might not be good, but hey, we'll just give it a go. We hate your company. It looked like it. Oh, the other one, here's the other one here. So it will go. It will search about sentiment. It'll do so it's got it all here. Client reviews, what people like, what they don't like, areas to improve, all the whole 9 yards. Like everything. It'll even pull like employee reviews, all that pull out of it, right? So you can start, and the reason I show that is just you can start thinking about how you can go to different layers of information. It doesn't have to be just surface level stuff. You can start going into different layers of information through this sort of thing, right? And then the other thing you can start doing is once you all do this, I love this, right? So now you're like, okay, now, and I didn't do all the prompts, but now I'm going to say, well, I need this information to present. So I'm going to say, well, create, where did I go? Let me see on here. Create a short executive summary for Czech Creative Leadership Team that explains what the data reveals, 2 recommendations to present it in plain language, whatever it be. So now, after all this information, now I can say, take all this thing and actually put it into a nice little presentation for me overall, and then off it goes and does its thing for you, right? So it actually could build. I use a tool called Gamma. So what I would say is, build it for Gamma and actually customizes it probably for Gamma. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Gamma, but Gamma is a slide deck builder, for lack of a better word. It's amazing. I use it way too much, but I typically ask ChatGPT to build it with that in mind. So it actually builds it with Gamma in mind, or whatever you might do. But here's your report. So it's taken all the information I asked it above, and it just did a nice little report for me. Now I can ask it for graphics. I think there is one here that I put in here. Yeah, like based on competitor analysis, market trends. So you can see how these tools are so powerful in literally clicks of a button. So if you want it, like Lee brought up, a good comment, if you wanted to think a little bit more, you can put it into deep research mode. So 2 different ways you can use these. One, you have your pre-existing data, you're going to upload it, and you're going to ask it to do a bunch of stuff. Or, hey, I don't have the information. Now I'm going to use these tools to go find the information, and then I want to ask it to do a bunch of stuff. Yeah.
Well, just a question.
Yeah.
Does Gamma have its own custom format?
Custom
Format. Is it a custom format for Gamma?
No, the reason I say is because I find that it gets too wordy if I don't. So when I say I'm bringing it into Gamma or a slide deck, it condenses the content for you. That's why. Yeah.
It has its own stock photos.
It does. Yeah, so Gamma does, what Gamma will do is based on the slide, the slide information, it will create a photo based on the information that it has there for you.
And it doesn't take long.
No, like literally like this. Like it's crazy actually. I use Gamma a lot. So so what else? The other things I've included for you guys as well. And I was supposed to give you time to do this yourself, but I yak too much. So you do have a little bit of time if you want to play around with it. We'll talk about it in a second. So I've created a worksheet for you. So this is a worksheet you guys could, like I said, Julie will get you guys the PDF. So about just really walking through what's it, what data do we want? What's the questions we want answered from our data? What are the metrics we want? What AI, like what do we want? Do we want a trend? Do we want sales? Like what do we want out of it? So just really simple form for you guys to walk through. So like you guys can have this and you guys can play around with it and do it yourself on your own time. And like you said, you'll have access to it. And then the other part is we get a lot of questions on dashboards, right? So what is what's an ideal dashboard for you, right? So I have a little spreadsheet for you that as well. So some things to think about when you're building a dashboard. So for me, from a marketing angle, these are things that are important to me. So everyone gets Google, and typically we have Google Analytics on our website, but the problem is we get it, and then we're like, oh, cool, and we move on with our day, right? That's 99% of it. Well, what if I built a tool where I build that, now I bring the Google Analytics into these tools and I start asking it questions. What are you seeing? What are the trends? Can you map out, you can start asking it questions, because if not, we're like, oh, this is how many visits we got. Oh, that's cool. Facebook, right? If it's social engagement, let's look at, we can upload it right from Meta and we can ask to summarize engagement trends for our last 10 posts. What things that are working, what not, what should we do up? If it's a CRM, you can put in all your leads and ask it to analyze it. Your invoicing, you can even do invoicing. Like you can ask it to calculate client retention for the last 12 months, where we say, start thinking about all the things you can start doing, and that this builds your dashboard, right? Because that's the question. If you can work through this, then it's building your dashboard for you, right? Because then you have that, but you got to start on what your end goal is and what you want to do with this information, okay? And again, you guys can take that. So the idea is, we got about 12 minutes. Is there anything specific that you guys want to see? Do you want to play around with a few things? Like I see some people have their laptops, or I'm happy to kind of just be interactive, or I can jump in and do a few more things. So if you guys want to spend 5 minutes and go into chat or Notebook LM and play around and upload some data and play around with it, we're more than welcome to. I can come out around and help people as well. Or if not, even if you want to give me some sample things you want to do, I can jump in and play around with it. So I wanted to have a little bit of, the idea of the workshop is that you guys do a little bit of work. And today I yak too much. But you guys want a few minutes to play around with some of the tools like Notebook LM? Yeah. Okay. How about we give everyone 5 minutes to do that? Okay. We'll give everyone 5 minutes. Play around with the tools. If you haven't played with Notebook LM, I would say that's probably the one you can play around with, or ChatGPT and start asking questions. And if you're still online, thanks for joining us today. Yeah, and please reach out if you have any other questions. We're going to just kind of answer some questions here as well. So please, thanks for joining us, and reach out if you have any questions. Hope to see you at the next session, which is November 12th.
Which one am I running?